Drive to Survive should interview Carlos Sainz's appendix.
Williams is still using AOL and like AIMing contractors.
Right. AMG Petronas Formula One team. What's your excuse, babes?
What does Yuki have to do for them to see him as wifey material? ¿Cómo estáis, Vanka? Vanka?
Hola, Vencas.
How is everybody doing?
I mean, they're doing better than you, babe. Better than you, dude.
I'm doing great. I don't know what you're talking about, Brian. I am doing fabulous.
Oh, right.
I'm
Your
doing
favorite.
fabulous.
This just in. Matt's favorite driver won another race against Max Verstappen.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you know, it feels so good, you know, when you ride with a guy for so long.
Yeah.
And he finally makes good, and it's just you feel so vindicated. It's just
Totally.
what I'm worried about is all the doubters. All the people that doubted him are going to start jumping on the bandwagon.
Totally.
That's what concerns me the most.
Yeah. No,
But,
get ready. The bandwagon Carlos Sainz fans are coming in hot. And we can just say proudly that we've been there since day dot.
That's right. That's right.
And
I'm just kidding. I'll find a way. Don't worry. We'll get it. We'll say some nice things.
Right.
But we'll get into it. We'll get
Right.
into it. No, because you know what I was saying? I was like, my first instinct was like, okay, I can't really hate on this, but I can pretend that I love him.
Right.
I could be nice and then just go over the top and pretend that I always loved him.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people were commenting me on my on what I was saying online, being like, no, you can't stop. Like, keep up the Sainz hate. Like,
Right.
we need it. I was like, oh. So even my negativity is actually an inspiration to some people.
Totally. There's a very small population that really find what you do to be an inspiration. I mean, Matt, one of our daddies is literally named Keep Up the Sainz Hate.
Yeah.
Are we going to make our daddy happy and keep up the Sainz hate?
Yes. Yes, we will. I mean, this week's going to be a tough week for that.
Yeah.
But we'll find a way.
This
We will
week is
find
what
a
they
way.
like to call bad for business. It's bad for business
Yes.
this week.
You know, my mom found a way when I showed her a clip of, me interviewing Daniel Ricciardo. Like, well, Brian did most of the interviewing. What about you? You couldn't have shaved?
Right.
Like, sort of things like that where you just, I can do it. I can manage it. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
We'll
you
be
know,
fine.
when you grow up, or when you grow up with people who can always find a way to find a flaw, then guess what? You can find a way to find a flaw in
That's
Carlos Sainz.
right.
You know what I mean? Where there's a will, at the end of the day, there is
This
a
is
will.
where I earn my money. This is where I earn my money this week.
Yeah. I fucking live here, okay? You're a goddamn tourist, okay? No, this race, holy shit. I mean,
You know what I find crazy, though, Brian?
yeah.
You know what I find absolutely crazy
Yeah.
is, let's talk about this race in general. A lot of the discourse, I got to listen to a lot of discourse around this race because I
Right.
forgot half my equipment.
Yes.
I had to drive 3 hours to get more equipment.
Yes.
So I listened to a lot of discourse about this race.
Yeah.
And a lot of these fucking nerds were like, it wasn't that great a race. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, it was just another car that went out ahead and it was kind of a boring race, blah, blah, blah. If you leave the Max Verstappen out of it, blah, blah, blah. It was kind of a, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, slightly above. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? You can't, take
Right.
the context out of the race.
Yeah.
This was Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
The absolute thrill of seeing Carlos Sainz pass Max
Yeah.
Verstappen and then see his car itself
Yeah.
and hear him be vulnerable on the radio, being like, car's on fire. It's on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, the car's on fire. Like, that was so good. And it almost didn't even matter. The roar of the crowd. Ding dong. Max was like, I'm melting.
Yeah.
Oh, what a world. Melting. Right? That was what it was. And for you to say that aside, and then there are people saying, well, if you look at FP1 and FP2, Ferrari were challenging them on pace. So if Max was still in the race, it would have been more. No, Max would have won that race, okay?
Yeah.
Max has never, and that's my shit with Carlos, is Carlos Sainz has never straight up beaten Max. Max has always had some bullshit. There's always been some bullshit. So anyone who thinks that Carlos Sainz could have taken it to Max when Max was, not dead.
Yeah. Right.
I remember we were in Austin and Carlos Sainz was on pole.
Yeah.
And it was like, or someone, I think Carlos was on pole, and we were like, I wonder if Carlos, and it was just like, every time Carlos is ahead of Max and Max is behind him, it's fucking Staples easy button. Every fucking time.
Yeah.
So if you're delusional enough to think that if Max wasn't in this race,
right,
Carlos had a great weekend, but to think he could beat the Terminator, without both of his legs ripped off?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves with that. Let's keep the roof of the car on the car, okay? Let's not blow our load there. No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, if Max was in this race, it is true. I was looking at this race going into it, and I was thinking about putting some money on Carlos Sainz. I was really thinking about it. I think he was like plus 1,000, plus 1,100, plus 1,200, and I was like, the Red Bulls don't seem to know what the setup is for this spot, and it feels like the Ferraris have a moment. But I was like, hey, I will put $15 on this, and if it hits, I'll make fucking 500. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Carlos Sainz was not going to win this race if Max Verstappen was in a car that was working. I just don't see it happening.
But I wasn't even trying to slight Carlos Sainz. I mean, mission accomplished. But my point is that this was a great race.
It was a great race. I mean,
for the fact that we got to see that happen. We got to see the lunar eclipse or whatever.
Yes, the collective, the collective orgasm that happened across the fucking Formula One fandom. When Max Verstappen's tire was going up in flames. I mean, everyone was in ecstasy. Even if, listen, we're Max fans. We love Max. I was rock hard when his car was just tumbling down the order. I was like, oh, thank the Lord. I mean, how many voodoo dolls? How many fucking, that there's that TikTok. It's like, why did this happen? And you see someone be like someone's over a voodoo doll, chanting something, wishing something would happen. That's what happened to Max Verstappen this week.
There's even a clip apparently of Penelope. You could see Penelope was petting that side of the car.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
She looked like the girl from that meme where she's looking at the house is on fire and she's looking back at the camera.
Yeah.
She was petting that side of the car. So people are blaming Kelly for it. Not Kelly, Penelope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was audibly screaming.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was I mean, just it's with all these reigns of dominance. The second you get it out, it's like we're all starving baby birds. And then the Red Bull fucking set up, the Red Bull engineering team, the Red Bull team that didn't really understand their setup and put too much fucking downforce on the front wing, and then whatever the fuck happened with the rear tire just immediately dying. It was just a pipette of fucking champagne into the empty mouths of all F1 fans. It was beautiful.
Yeah, but for some reason people are nitpicking this race. I don't get it.
Well, because they're British and annoying.
How could you not just give it up for this race? That this spectacular event that we'll never see again, probably, which is Max Verstappen failing.
And again, where do the good races happen? On street tracks.
Just street tracks.
It's on the street track that we get the good race. Where did Carlos Sainz win last year? Oh, another street track.
This
is where the good shit happens. Everyone, all the Brits and all the fucking established F1 fans were like, no, purpose-built tracks are better. Yeah, they're better for Max Verstappen to win by 45 seconds. If you want something actually fun to happen, do it on a goddamn street.
Yes. Yeah, we're from the streets. We're from the streets.
From the streets.
Right. So what do we want to talk about other than Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead? Finally.
I mean,
Carlos Sainz won, I guess.
Carlos Sainz won, I guess. I mean, okay, let's take some time. Let's give this kid some flowers. Carlos Sainz starts the year off getting replaced by Lewis Hamilton. Before it was
knives.
Just, starts this year, I'm getting replaced by Lewis. It comes out in the press in a way that was like fast. That's not how they would have wanted it to come out, but it came out that way. What we understand maybe is that Toto leaked it, and maybe
what's a good way to find out you're being fired?
Silly season, maybe silly season, so that you have half the year, and maybe but it's not like people talk about like. I found out just like everybody else did, one of those. Like I read about my life in Variety. I read that my husband was filing for divorce in the news like everybody else. Like some of that shit. How you do things matters. So the year starts, Carlos Sainz replaced by Lewis Hamilton. He comes out, has a decent where was he in Bahrain, right? He was on the podium in Bahrain. Outraces Charles Leclerc, comes in hot, passes Charles Leclerc.
Had brake caliper
he had
issues.
He had
like
braking
Max
issues. Okay.
Actually, Peter Windsor, noted journalist, says Ferrari and Red Bull, they got their calipers they get their brakes apparently from the same supplier. This could be a supplier issue. So the same thing that Charles was suffering from in Bahrain could have been what was affecting Max too. Anyway,
Interesting.
Continue.
Okay. Outperforms Charles. Charles had braking issues, but outperforms Charles. Passes him twice on track in Bahrain. Then
Charles outperforms him in the second race with the better appendix.
Yes.
Has a better appendix for the second race. Hey, if we're keeping score.
Yeah, Charles has a better appendix and thus wildly outperforms Carlos Sainz in the second race. I mean, Carlos Sainz was fucking nowhere in Saudi. I mean, where the fuck was he?
Yes.
I mean, his car was in seventh, but where the fuck was he? No, he has this fucking surgery. Ollie Bierman comes in. Then it's like this question: is he gonna race? Is he gonna be? No, he shows up in the paddock. He shows up in the fucking paddock.
No one's sure.
Well, no, he shows up in the paddock in Saudi.
In Jeddah.
Yeah. He shows up in the paddock in Jeddah, and it's like, "What's up, bitches? Yeah, I'm here, but I'm tender, but I'm here, bitch."
Looking terrible.
Looking
like shit.
But also does numbies on the internet, posting the picture of him and his dad. Then shows up in Australia, and it's like, will he or won't he? And he says, "I'll see how I feel in the car. I'll see how I feel in the car." And I think he felt pretty fucking good in the car, despite the fact that when he was getting out of the car, you were like, that guy looks like he has diarrhea or something. I mean, he looks like shit, but on track has a Verstappen-like performance. No flaws the whole weekend, really, and just gets a lead, builds on that lead, and fucking dominates, and then wins the fucking race, and then does a little ab pick. No, I can't see Carlos Sainz's abs because there's bandages on them. The dude still has an open wound on his belly button, dude. It's an epic. I mean, it is an epic. It's an epic story. It's an epic week.
Thank God for these storylines that are keeping F1 alive right now. We had Ollie Behrman last week and last race, and this week we have Carlos Sainz's appendix. Oh, I mean, his appendix is the gift that keeps on giving here.
Right.
It's the same. It's part of the same storyline,
dude. Yeah. Drive to Survive should interview Carlos Sainz's appendix because that's the one that's the thing that's fucking keeping it interesting. And listen, maybe Carlos Sainz's appendix was the thing that was holding him back against Charles Leclerc. I don't know. I looked up how much an appendix weighs. It's only a couple of grams. But
really?
I think that translated to it's 6.43 grams between 1 and 18. That's how big an appendix can be. So it's not much weight, but it translated to about, I don't know, 3/10 this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes,
it did.
You know?
Yeah, he put up such a good qualifying in Q3 that Charles Leclerc made a mistake. And these guys, they make mistakes when their teammate puts on a good performance. It forces them into a mistake. And that's what happened.
It was an epic weekend. We'll continue to discuss, these two boys in this app. But let's go back to the beginning of the week. The other drama, the other news. Alex Albon, Logan Sargent, James Valves. And let me cook for a second. I'm on this hill. I'm on a little bit of a hill, which is that I find James Valves to be annoying.
Well, you were early on it, and now people are coming around to your side of
Well,
things.
Here's the thing. Everyone loves James Valves. Everyone thinks that he's charming. He's like my cute, nerdy dad. Look, he does a selfie, and he's approachable, and he's nice, and he says all the right things. And he seems to really care, right? That's a huge component of the James Valves appeal, is that he seems to care. The human element, right?
Yes.
That when he re-signed Logan, he was like, he'd sat down with him and he was in his office and he's looking at all the pictures like a fucking scrapbook. Oh, and remember that day? That was a great day, Logan. That was really a great day.
When you didn't total the car, that was awesome.
And then remember this day when you had to retire in Qatar. You viewed that day as a failure, but I didn't, Logan. I saw that as a real moment where I felt like real trust in you, and I trust you, Logan. I trust you to be in my car for another year. This is part of the James Valves shtick, right? Then Alex Albon totals his fucking car. Mm-hmm. This track seems to be one that Alex Albon doesn't get along with, because he totaled his car last year in Australia. Yeah. He doesn't seem to like this fucking track.
Nope.
He totals his car, and then James Valves reveals himself to be the same cutthroat piece of shit that every single one of these guys is. And here's the thing. I think that he did the right thing.
Yes.
Putting Albon in the car was the right thing to do. But if your whole fucking shtick is like, I care about the human being in the car, and then you pull this kind of shit, and I trust you, Logan, but now it's like, you can't have the best of both worlds. And just be, and this is my thing with James Valves in general, is kind of like, is this in line with who you really are? Because the human element and the thing, and and I do all the stuff, and I say, and I care about the mental, it's like, but then at the end of the day, when push comes to shove.
If they did this at Red Bull, no one would blink.
Exactly.
Everyone would understand.
Yes.
Everyone would be like, yep, because we know what they say they are who they say they are.
If they did this at Aston Martin, no one would blink. If they did this at McLaren, no one would blink. I mean, people would talk about it, but they wouldn't be like, "What?" I'm shocked. I am shocked. No, this is what they would all do.
Not that sweetie James Valves. It's like no. He's running a business like everybody fucking else.
Right.
And. Yeah, I've been hating on James Valves like you have, and I was ready to defend this choice, but that's an interesting nuance that I'm going to hop on that bandwagon with you. It's like, if you're an asshole, just be an asshole. Don't pretend to be nice.
Right.
And then secretly be an asshole.
Yes.
Just be an asshole.
It's worse
all the
that
way
way.
through.
It's worse that way.
Yes. That's why I love Alonso, because he's just a fucking asshole.
Oh, my God. Was he an asshole today.
Yeah.
Boy, was he an asshole today.
Because people like James Valves are actually more dangerous in a business like this.
Right.
Because you think they're sweet. You think they're your friend.
Yes.
But then you realize, oh, fuck, it is just a business.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you're not gonna get it twisted with a helmet, Marco.
Yeah. A
You know what I'm
stab
saying?
a stab in
You
the back
underst-
hurts a lot more than a stab in the fucking
Than a
front.
stab in the
okay?
front.
That's
right.
And, yeah.
Helmut Marko, like says publicly in the press, like, yeah, Yuki, I don't think Yuki's got it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't really get it with this guy, Yuki.
Right.
Like,
Yuki
fully knows
Right. Yeah.
the situation that he's in.
And as wrong as Helmut Marko is about that thing, at least Yuki knows where he stands with him. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. He knows exactly where he stands.
Yeah, no, that was wild. Ultimately, they did do the right thing. Albon should be in that car. But also there was another thing, which is that they didn't bring an extra chassis.
Well, yeah, I want to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Also, for all you people that are saying Logan was done dirty,
Yeah.
they did Logan dirty. They did Logan dirty.
Right.
$10 million is on the line, and it comes to you.
Yeah.
You get the $10 million.
Right.
You. Who are you putting in that car?
Yeah.
You're ripping Logan out of that car so fucking quickly. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Now, what? And the only thing that makes it such a headache is because of all the fucking public bigging up he did of Logan.
Yes.
Of all the
Right.
Of all the prostrating he did.
Right.
Just bending over backwards to blow Logan, being like,
Right.
he's the driver of the future. We believe in him. We have faith in him. Blah 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 blah. You just undercut that
Right.
so much.
Right.
Nobody's in. And what I find really fascinating is, it's Williams' car. They could do with it what they wish. Right. But, and this is tough. I'm pretty sure it's murky. I'm pretty sure Logan's a pay driver.
Totally.
So he kind of is entitled to the car in a way.
Right,
Like,
sure.
that's one of those situations where it's like, actually, wait a minute. If you pay $30 million for a drive,
right.
and then they pull you out of the car, that's kind of bullshit from a like, we had a deal perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Oscar Piastri, who they're just paying to be in the car, they can do whatever they want with.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri is just a pure employee. You know?
Yeah, he's just an employee. It's like, no, these are both our cars.
Yeah.
These are our cars. But actually, if Logan's paying for it, it's actually more his car.
Yeah, I wonder.
Literally his car that he's paying for.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are contracts that cover this thing, but
I'm sure the Sargent family is not happy. I'm sure that because here's the thing, Logan's not paying. His family's rich as fuck. His uncle.
And he's got American sponsors, but yeah.
Yes.
But so,
You know.
but here, and then let's get to the fact where they're like, oh, we don't have a chassis. We design everything in Excel.
Yeah.
Which reminds me very much of when Jackie Moon in semi-pro like breaks his neck, and they're like, someone get a stretcher.
Right.
And they just go, we don't got a stretcher. And they're all just like picking him up, and they're like, they're doing a terrible job stabilizing his spine.
Yeah.
But that was the vibe. But James Vowles does this thing where he just like, he reminds me of a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, who would do these horrific things. Just do the horrific things.
Yeah.
And would just own up the most insane excuses. He would like cop to it in such a way that you couldn't really get angry at him anymore. But it's like, how does that absolve you? Like, he would do something horrendous, and I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And he'd be like, because I'm a drug addict. And I'd be like, right, but that would just kind of end the conversation.
Yeah.
Or he'd be like really nasty.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, how could you say that to me? He goes, it's because of my insecurity.
Right.
It's because of my insecurity that I called you a dumb fuck.
Right.
And I'm like, and you can't, it's not an apology. It doesn't make you feel better, but it's just like, it's this weird judo move where you just own the thing in such a way where I'm like, no, wait a minute. How are you off the hook right? Where it's like,
it's weaponized.
Like,
that's weaponized self-awareness is what that is.
Yes, exactly. It's weaponizing self-awareness. He's like, well, you see here in this team that I'm 100% responsible for, we design everything on Excel.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, but why do you design it Excel? Brian, it would be like if I told you, sorry I missed this meeting. It's not that I overslept my alarm. That would be one thing. But I didn't even set an alarm.
Right.
Well,
Right.
why didn't you set an alarm?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I
just
guess
like-
their
it's like-
argument, their argument is that it's because of the budget cap that they can't, spend the money to restructure the infrastructure and get it all right the way that they want it. That's what they would say. But them bringing the chassis is not. That's just like a finance thing. That's just
because so when you have a car that complicated and you have all the parts on Excel, it's just going to slow the process down. That's why they don't have the shit ready. That's why they're slow.
So they don't have the chassis, period, or they just didn't bring the chassis.
You think they have the chassis and they just like forgot it?
I thought that they didn't bring the chassis. Yeah, I thought that was what the deal was.
They were like, I thought you had the spare chassis. No, I thought that was your responsibility. They just left it there. No, they just don't have it built because their infrastructure is so shitty that they can't get things built fast enough. They're on like dial-up. Everybody else is on fucking, and that's to extend the infrastructure thing. All the other teams have like completely gutted their infrastructure and put in fucking the good Ethernet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they got the fucking 5G or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That people are worried about, giving them cancer. And then Williams is still using AOL and like AIMing contractors.
Right.
Bring.
On Bing.com being like, why am I not getting good search results?
Yeah, exactly.
Every now and again, it's like I use Safari on my computer, on my Mac, just because it's like, it's just the one that it came with, and so then I use it.
Yeah.
And then in the last year, it's just been like, using Safari makes being on the internet a horrible experience, because like none of the buttons on the websites like really work on Safari anymore, and it all is on, so I always have to go switch back to Google Chrome. Yeah,
but Chrome has its own things. It
Chrome
eats up all your memory,
sucks. I hate Chrome.
Yeah.
Chrome sucks. Let's just go on. Let's do 20 minutes on that.
It was so funny. Toto Wolff was like saying that they had a physics problem. It's like, we have a physics problem. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And I forgot, some other podcaster was saying, like, you don't have a physics problem. Like, your physics is not different than anybody else's physics. Like,
yeah,
the laws of physics.
Right.
Like, something's wrong with you. You're fucking something up. Right?
Yes.
The laws of physics do not apply to Mercedes differently. It's like they have this way of like just judoing responsibility.
Well, here's the thing. Williams has the excuse of like the infrastructure sucks with the cost cap. Like, that's actually, there is legitimacy within that excuse, that they don't have the resources. That it's tough for them to find the resources. Mercedes-Benz, AMG Petronas Formula One team. What's your excuse, babes? What's your excuse for the car being shit? For the designs, the downforce, the fucking specs being off, the engine blowing. I mean, the Mercedes team.
This is the third year. They're going on 3 years of this.
I mean, it's crazy. And this year they're like, I think they've recently been like, something I think is wrong with our sim. Our sim's not like giving us the right data. And it's like, I could have told you that 3 years ago.
Their car like slaps in the Matrix.
Right.
And then they unplug.
Right.
And then in the real world they suck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy. And we said that they were going to get, I think both of us said that they were going to get in fourth this year. And right now it's looking like that.
I said Ferrari too.
You said Ferrari too. You right now you're looking, your predictions are looking good. Your predictions are looking really strong right now.
Can we just remind our audience members
that
we started hating Toto like 2 years ago?
I know. Now everyone's on it. Now everyone's on the train.
Everyone's on it. And pretty soon we're going to have to start loving Toto.
Yeah.
But But our fuck total island, that the prices are starting to go up.
Yeah.
They're starting to go way up.
But
it's he sucks at his job, dude. He's not good. He's not good. And how as bad as his season's going right now, isn't Lewis Hamilton feeling kind of like a genius?
Totally. Huge step up. Huge step up.
Yeah. Yeah, from Toto to Fred.
And I mean, I guess they would have done it. Yeah, from Toto to Fred, 100%. I mean, talk about a vibe.
Yeah.
Talk about a great vibe shift.
Yes. I saw a picture of Fred literally spitting the champagne into Carlos Sainz's face.
Really?
He's the best, dude. Yeah. Just like a fucking dolphin spout, just spitting it.
What
amazing.
Fucking ledge.
What a fucking legend.
Also, Lewis did it. Also, Lewis did it at the right time. I mean, I guess they would have always done that, but like right now, I mean, Carlos Sainz is just looking like a better driver than Charles Leclerc. I'm gonna say it. Right now, he just looks like the better driver.
Yeah, he looks like a better driver this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he really didn't look like last week. He really didn't look like the better driver than Charles. Charles was
last
really
week he was a worse driver.
Last week Charles was way outperformed. Carlos was nowhere in jail.
We got to look at the red flags pod. We look at every week. We take this. We take a holistic approach.
We see the whole picture.
And we got to factor in health. Like Leclerc's appendix seems to be more reliable. What's so funny is when Carlos Sainz was like, life is beautiful sometimes. I'm like, yeah, for you, dude. Yeah. Everything fucking works out for you. That is never like if Leclerc's appendix ruptured, every fucking step of that would go wrong.
Right, sure.
There would be complications with the surgery.
Right,
he'd get an infection.
Yeah.
The fucking, the ambulance that he was in would crash. You know what I mean? Like, literally, it's fucking, it's Murphy's Law with him.
Yeah.
Everything that can go wrong with Charles Leclerc will go wrong. But I will say, I think it's one of those things that Carlos Sainz has a incredibly high floor.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, you throw him in the deep end.
Yeah.
And he just kind of manages with whatever he has.
He meets the moment. He's a guy who can meet the fucking moment.
Whereas Leclerc, if it's not all hooked, if he doesn't have everything just right, he just can't. It just doesn't. It's not good.
If the thermostat's not on, it's 60. I want it to be on 68. Right now it's on
I can't work under these conditions. He's a tortured artist.
Right.
He needs all his jelly beans to be red.
Yeah.
Right. He needs a thermostat at a certain level.
Right.
No one can make eye contact with him. I'm not saying that's like literally what he is. I'm just saying he needs a certain environment around him.
Right.
He's sensitive.
Right.
He's a wounded soul.
Right, but here's what's interesting about Charles. He is that way, but then he's also nice. So like he's actually kind of not like if you're going to be that way, if you need to work under certain conditions, then you kind of have to be a fucking piece of shit about it. And you have to be like super particular and make sure that everyone's doing their shit. And you have to be like unafraid to yell at someone if the thermostat's not where it should be.
Right.
Instead, what Charles Leclerc does,
right. He's more like you. He'll just kind of hold it in.
Yes.
And
then you'll be like, wait,
you didn't get my green jelly beans. That's okay. That's fine that you didn't get my green jelly beans.
And then all of a sudden,
eventually it's no.
Sure, yeah, he's in the room, and the thermostat's not the right degree, and then all of a sudden he's just smashing his head into the wall, and you're like, what's going on? Instead of being like, hey, I need it to be 70 degrees in this room, why is it not the way I want it? So it's like, if you need to work under those conditions, then you also kind of have to be an asshole about getting it exactly the way that you want it.
And we saw this last year, like when Leclerc didn't fuck with the car, like Carlos Sainz was beating him.
Yeah.
But then near the end of the season, they got the car they got the bathtub at 68.
Yeah.
Before it was at 69. No, I can't be in. I can't work like this at 69. Yeah. They got it at 68, and then he started trouncing Sainz. But Sainz has got, they talk about cars operating window, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The operating window of a car.
Yeah.
And I think that's been Mercedes' problem. That has, for a while, has been Mercedes' problem. Very narrow operating window.
Yes.
Whereas
yes.
Red Bull, very large operating window.
Right.
You could put this wing on it, that wing on it, this track, that track. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
I think Leclerc has a very narrow operating window.
Yes.
But when you're in that window, oh boy, get ready. Whereas Sainz, I don't think he's got. That's my ding on him. Is I don't think he can ever, he'll never beat Verstappen straight up like Leclerc can.
Right.
But he's got he can get you an A- to an A. Right?
Yes.
On a lot of different setups.
Yes.
In a lot of different situations. And he's a fucking genius.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
When he's like, give me the gap. Give me the gap. I want the gap. Give me that gap.
Yeah.
Because he also knew that they were going to try some bullshit on him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's not only fighting to race, he's fighting his own team. Because he knows that they'll undercut the fuck out of him. Because he knew that if he gave up track position, he was fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, don't do the they weren't going to do the Lando thing, right? Where there was going to because Lando got undercut.
Yeah.
But Lando then had a tire advantage.
Right.
But because everything's harmonious in the team, they let Lando have the place back.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he has the tire advantage now.
Right.
Carlos Sainz like, fuck the tire advantage.
Yeah.
They were talking about this somewhere else. I'm sorry, I'm stealing it. But I think Missed Apex, they were saying that, right? It was just like, I do not trust you guys not to fuck me. He's playing 4D chess.
Right.
No,
100%. I mean,
and
you hear that when Crofty was like, if you're for the Ferrari team boss, would you swap the places? Because it would put Charles Leclerc in second place, or maybe first place. It would put Charles Leclerc in first place.
No, Leclerc would have been leading the championship.
He would have been leading the championship. And then Brundle was just like, well, no, I definitely wouldn't do that. But it's like, if Crofty's thinking it, you don't think that the Ferrari people are thinking it? You don't think that, you know what I mean? Oof. That there was a brain trust there being like, and then
Sainz is too smart though. He was keeping such a good gap.
Yeah. No, he made a fucking big ass gap.
Yeah.
It was like all of a sudden it was 7 seconds, 10. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then he was complaining about his tires in the last lap, and I was like, ooh, is he gonna have a problem? And then lucky Sainz, got bailed out by a VSC. Yeah. I'm not, but I would have liked to have seen him finish the race,
Right. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think he's so fucking adaptable and reliable. And here's the interesting thing, and here's the thing that Ferrari needs to start thinking about.
Yeah.
Neither Leclerc, this is the problem. Neither Leclerc nor Hamilton, however way you slice it, neither one of those guys is going to be a good number 2.
Yeah.
Right? Neither one of those guys is going to be a good number 2.
Mm-hmm.
They're number 1s. Leclerc, if Hamilton starts pulling out the edge, Leclerc's going to be a terrible number 2.
It's going to be a mess.
If Leclerc pulls out, if Leclerc, has the advantage on an older Hamilton, Hamilton's going to be a terrible number 2.
Totally.
Sainz, perfect number 2.
Yes.
I'm not saying Sainz is a better driver than Hamilton, but he is the guy that is like, when it's just not working out with your diva.
Yeah.
He's the guy you want.
100%.
He's the guy you want.
He's the guy you marry. Honestly,
number one.
He's the guy you marry. He is the guy you marry. You know what I mean?
Right. I think he's the guy you want in that second Red Bull seat.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy you want if Verstappen leaves.
Right.
That's my whole point.
Well, and it'll be an interesting thing where he goes, because now his stock is at the highest that it's ever been. I mean, he's walking in to that silly season being, he is the fucking belle of the ball, dude. He is fucking walking in like who wants to get with the fucking king here. And I think
his ability to just his song shouldn't be Smooth Operator. Oh, not I will survive as long as I know how to love. I know I'll stay alive. I mean, he's just a survivor.
Yeah.
No, or is that Destiny's Child song? I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
I'm
going to work harder.
But he just keeps going to better teams that don't like. It's unbelievable.
Well, but so then it is kind of the thing where it's like, it's Red Bull is an option. Mercedes is an option, and Audi is an option. Now, at Audi, it seems like if he goes there, he will be like, it's my team. I'm number
Head bitch
one
in
here.
charge.
Head bitch in charge. Now, Daniel Ricciardo did that once upon a time. He went to Renault.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I want to be,
the guy.
I want to be the guy. As, there was this great interview, Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs. They like let him go. They didn't re-sign him. And now he's on Miami now, and he was on some podcast and he was talking about the dynamic of being on the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes' relationship with Travis Kelce. And basically Tyreek Hill was like, I think he said this. He was like, I've always been like the bottom bitch. Like I've always been like the number one, I've always been the number one girl. And then I got to the Chiefs, and all of a sudden, like,
and he's
Patrick's
a side piece.
And he's a side piece, and he's hanging out with Travis, and Travis is going over to Patrick Mahomes' house, and like he's like a work relationship. He's like, oh hey, hey Tyreek, how's it going? And like he was like, what the fuck? Like, how are you not whining and dining me right now? And
right.
Carlos
Hey,
Sainz,
Tyreek, go long. I'll throw you.
Yeah, Carlos Sainz has kind of never really been wined and dined. He's always kind of been the side piece. And it's a question of, like, does he go to a Red Bull where he gets to continue to be the side piece, but then he gets to, like, have a actually higher stat thing? Or does he go to an Audi where he can be wined and dined, but, ultimately it's what the neighborhood are you living in, and what, do you want to be on the 10th floor of like a really nice building with a view of the park, or do you want to be, like, in the penthouse and no view of the park? You know what I mean? That's the view, This is the vibe here.
It's such, and that's what makes Formula One fascinating.
Yeah,
is that you're kind of you're kind of like Timothée Chalamet in Dune. You're putting your hand in a box and you have no idea what the fuck is in the box.
Right.
You don't know what's happening. You're kind of putting your life in the hands of you're jumping into a void.
Yeah.
I mean, not to go back to DTS where he literally took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
So I think they could literally call it a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
I mean, not financially, right? But it was
Of course.
terrible decision, right? Renault was nowhere. Whereas, like, Lewis Hamilton and McLaren was historically great team. He won a championship there. Decides to make a leap of faith to Mercedes. Everyone says, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't do anything with. I mean, this is where Schumacher just washed out, right?
Right.
And then he makes a leap of faith to Mercedes, looking like a genius, making the leap to Ferrari now, starting to maybe look like a genius. But it's crazy though. It's crazy though that Sainz has never actually really just dominated a teammate of note. Just a young Lando, that's his one claim to fame.
Yep.
I'm sure people are going to come at me. I mean, he was very closely matched with a 12-year-old Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's tragic.
Yeah.
There's this vibe, right, where if Danny beats Yuki, he gets the seat.
Yeah.
Because usually you're judged about, like, how many teammates you beat.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, okay, Danny, you get in there, you beat Yuki, you get the seat.
Yep.
But if Yuki beats Daniel, nothing happens.
I know.
Nothing happens.
Speak on
it's
it, dude.
Crazy
Fucking
to me.
speak on
it's like,
it.
All Yuki can really do here is fuck up Daniel's career.
Literally.
That's literally all he could do.
Yes.
But why is it that way?
I know.
Why is it that way? What does Yuki have to do for them to see him as wifey material?
Yes. No, it's
so frustrating to me.
It's so true.
It goes without saying, Daniel, you beat Yuki, Red Bull seat is yours. But Yuki, you beat Daniel? No.
Guess what? You're still getting fired next year. We still don't want that might happen. Yuki having
How does that work?
It's crazy.
How is that it's just the math isn't mathing to me.
The disrespect for Yuki Tsunoda.
Why don't they see him that way? Is it there's this culture of like infantilizing him, talking about his temper, that he's just not taken seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of, the problem with him is, honestly, if he didn't have that Honda connection, they would have fired him years ago.
Yep.
He's hung around, but now he's hung around long enough because of the Honda connection to actually get good.
Yeah.
But the Honda connection's gone now.
Yeah.
And he's a man without a country now.
Right.
And that really sucks. Because they're kind of like, well, if it wasn't for Honda, we would have fired him years ago. But it's like, guess what? You didn't fire him years ago, and now he's got all this experience, and you now have a finished product on your hand that's really good. But they just don't see him in that light because I don't know why. Because he doesn't have a winning. Well, he does have a winning smile.
No, it's because
he is great on the interviews.
Yeah.
No, because he just. I don't know.
He doesn't have the vibe. It's just like he doesn't have like the vibe.
He just
because they're like, he looks young and he yells and he's like kind of like goofy. He doesn't seem to be like this, like the disrespect, dude.
It's just, what is
Yuki Tsunoda, dude? Yuki Tsunoda, dude. Oh, Vankas. We've just wrapped up the third race of the season, but we've already got our sights set on the one and only Las Vegas GP. And Vankas, we have great news because tickets to our favorite and the greatest race on the Formula One calendar are on sale starting today. Yeah, today. We are going to be there this year, and so should you. We're going to be there. We're going to be looking right and feeling even better because we're in the greatest city in the world, Las Vegas, for the greatest race in the world, the LVGP. Charles Leclerc passed Max Verstappen on pace last year. Get with the program. Because when you're in Vegas, Vegas knows how to throw a party, and you know it's going to be good. So here's why you should get tickets to the Las Vegas Jeep. It's going to be some of the most exciting racing that you'll see all season. Last year, there were over 180 overtakes in the single race. Cars hit maximum speeds at 215 miles per hour, not kilometers, because you're in America. And there was major drama. Charles had that overtake at the end of the race. He also passed Max Verstappen on pace. What else could he want? We thought Charles Leclerc might win that race, and who knows? Maybe this year, Carlos Sainz will win it. We can't wait to see what action's going to happen on track this year. In addition to some of the best racing, you'll get entertainment, baby, Vegas style. There'll be fun, fan experiences, top-tier musical acts, and amazing food and bev. What more could you ask for? And it's all the things Las Vegas does better than anywhere else in the world. If last year's race is any indication, the premium seats with the best are going to go fast. So go click the link in this episode's description or the link on our social media bios to get your tickets today. And we'll see you there, Vankas. Viva Las Vegas in F1, yeah.
But it's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's like, what? I mean, this is how we judge these guys. If we can't judge these guys against it, here's the other crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo McLaren.
Yeah.
Nobody said, oh, Lando's mid.
Right.
Ricciardo sucks. Everyone said, Lando's amazing. Ricciardo's lost a step.
Right.
Same thing is happening now.
Yes.
It's probably a little bit of both.
Yes.
Why can't it be a little bit of both?
Yeah. No, it's
nobody said it. Nobody said, you know what? Lando's probably just an average driver.
Yeah.
And Daniel's just not fucking with this car.
Yeah.
Nobody said that. Everybody said it's probably both. They had room for nuance.
No.
But in this case, they just don't.
People just like got the ick for Yuki. It's like people are going off like early impressions and they're like not letting them see past it. And it's just like first impressions are stupid. First impressions are wrong. Matt, you and I hated each other when we first met. We were enemies for the first, 5 years of our friendship, of our life together. And look at us now, baby. Fucking numbies. And a beautiful friendship.
The other problem with him is he doesn't seem like a number 2 driver. He's kind of you watch him on track today, the way he's a psycho. He's a killer.
Yeah.
He's nobody's. That's why, they compared him to a Cuoco, which was kind of hilarious. He's a babyface assassin.
Yeah.
I put him if I have to rate the psychos, it's like Max Verstappen, it's George Russell, it's Yuki Tsunoda, it's Kevin Magnussen, it's Fernando Alonso. It's like, these are the people you don't want to fuck with, ever.
Yeah.
You never want to send it on them because you're probably going to get hurt.
Yeah.
They're just Ocon if he's your teammate.
Right.
But only if he's your teammate.
Right.
Yuki's top 5 in the you shall not pass. I'm an absolute just
menace.
Killer.
Yeah.
He was a menace today. He was making crazy passes and crazy defense today.
Yeah. Quali, getting into Q3, his starting position where he started 9th or 8th, being ahead of one of the Astons, it was an impressive weekend all around. Helmut Marko actually did praise him. At Sky Germany.
The past 2 weeks he said his race pace is okay. His qualifying is okay. After demolishing Ricciardo, he said his qualifying pace is okay, but his race pace is not there.
Yeah.
And then he said he did compliment him this week.
He said Yuki ran perfectly from the first lap on Friday and set very consistent and good times in today's race. When Nico attacked in the later stages of the race, he immediately countered. I think we have confirmed that Yuki is an absolutely mature driver.
He also, I think somewhere he might have said, don't quote me on this, a swallow does not make a summer.
Right.
Let's not get carried away.
Right.
He's still mid as fuck, and we're never giving him a job.
Right. Also, him saying that he is absolutely a mature driver just implies that, what they thought previous to today was that he's an immature driver. Which, hey,
he also didn't do himself any favors in Bahrain.
Yeah, but at the same, yeah. He did. That was crazy.
But you know what? For other drivers, you know what they do for when Lance Stroll puts it in the wall or some other driver puts it in the wall, they say it's because he cares so much.
Right.
Right? It's a positive. Yuki cares so much. His emotions are used against him in such a way. I'm not trying to defend what he did there. That was
right. Yeah, that was crazy.
But his emotions are contextualized far different. By the media.
Than
anybody else.
And the powers that be. And the people
Leclerc throws
F1.
a tantrum and he's passionate.
Right.
He's a tortured soul.
Right.
Yuki does it and he's a baby.
Yeah.
He's immature.
Right.
All
these guys fucking scream on the radio. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Except for Daniel Ricciardo.
Yes.
He's on another planet, that guy.
He could scream it a little bit more on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
He could afford to scream a little more.
He drove the wheels off that car. He was incredible today. Also, hats off to Laurent Mekies for managing that situation. Although, how good could that situation really be going if those two have unfollowed each other? Apparently, that's a thing.
The drama, the tea, is that Daniel has never followed Yuki. Which kind of makes sense. It's interesting to see who these guys follow and who they don't. There's people who track this thing, and we have to say thank you for your service to the people that do.
Well, when you're a superstar, you kind of have to be careful with who you follow. You're aware of the ratio. More.
Right. Yeah, and just who, am I really following that person? Are they a coworker or are they a friend? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Yuki was following Daniel because, hey, why wouldn't you follow Daniel Ricciardo? He's the most charming, one of the most famous guys in F1. But then recently,
but I also think he probably followed him. Because he was like a Red Bull Junior and he was 12, and Daniel was the man.
Right.
That was when that follow probably happened.
Yeah.
2013 or 2014.
Yeah. Well, that follow was collecting mold in the fucking cabinet, baby, because it's out. Yuki, unfollow Daniel Ricciardo on Instagram.
Isn't it crazy? It's so wild. Formula One is a wild sport.
Yeah.
Because you can grow up worshiping somebody or looking up to them and be like, that piece of shit. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Because Daniel's 34, which means he can like drive with people that like looked up to him.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the picture of George Russell holding the thing, waiting for fucking Lewis to sign it,
Isn't that so? Beyond don't meet your heroes. Imagine like having your hero as your fucking coworker / rival.
Yeah.
What that does to your psyche.
Yeah.
That would be like us doing a podcast with like Mike Israetel or something. It would be just like crazy.
Well, we do. We do want to get him on.
Do.
We do want to get him on the pod to talk about driver workouts.
Yeah.
This is a public declaration that Mike Israetel, we'd love to have you on the pod to discuss neck training. Because Mike Israetel's got a big fucking fat neck.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's got something to say.
Lando chicken shop date.
Oh, yeah.
Lando chicken shop date. I want to get into it.
Yeah.
Now, I was a Lando hater for a long time, and the backlash was not worth it. It was not worth the squeeze. You guys are irrational. But I don't know if any of our longtime listeners might have remembered that I had once said, and I'll say it again for our newer listeners.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I said this when I used to have a backbone, and then it got too hot in these streets. I said that if Lando Norris wasn't a professional race car driver, he'd be a fucking virgin. I said that like 2 years ago. I saw that chicken chop date, and I was like, yup, a fucking virgin. A fucking virgin. He sucked on that thing. He was terrible. And you know what? I was like, is this what she does with everyone? Mm-hmm. And then, because I was not, she missed me. I'm not the demographic.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
I watched her with Paul Mescal.
Yeah.
Magic.
Magic.
That guy, if that guy was a truck driver, he would fuck. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that guy's ability to
Riz.
fuck is kind of
that guy's got
Riz. Vulnerable, like he's
right.
actually,
he was like, I'm really nervous. Like I'm actually like, you don't know me at all. Like you don't think I'm nervous? Like I am nervous. I'm nervous right now.
It wasn't like he was bringing like this crazy big dick energy. He was very charming.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm confident if that guy was working,
was your barista, cashier,
was your barista.
Fucking,
he would clean up.
Yeah.
He would clean the fuck up.
Right. What's interesting about how Lando, because people were loving it, the Lando stand. Everyone's like, I get to, listen, I'm a Lando fucking girly, dude. I got the fucking bracelet on and everything. I'm fucking legit, dude. But like, how Lando. Why people love it and why people loved him on it was kind of that, like, he does this kind of like shy boy thing.
People loved him on this?
Well, yeah, the stands.
That you've just shown yourself to be not on this planet.
People loved when they said the thing about it being hot in the car, and then she was like, it'd be hotter if I was in the car, and then he bit his lip, dude. He bit his lip, and people were going crazy over that, dude. But here's what he did. And here's the charm of it. Let me explain the charm. Let me explain what people find charming. I'm not saying that I do.
This is like what people say Carlos Sainz has a great voice. Anyway, continue.
Let me explain what the people find charming about his thing, I think. What people find charming is this whole kind of like... It's kind of like he's the main character in his own story. And so then it's like... it's like he's got a solo shot on him, a close-up. And it's just like all of his little like, oh, I'm shy, like I don't know what to say to that, like kind of here, like completely like self-contained, introverted, like not there. And so I think what people like about that is that they kind of feel like, oh, like I have only my eyes on you, and you're kind of like giving me these like little soft clues into like what you actually think, but like you're not really gonna say it. You're not really gonna like put yourself out there, or like really flirt. You're gonna kind of like flirt in this like roundabout way, and people find that to be cute. They find him to be cute in that way. Now but
isn't that a bit parasocial?
Yes.
You're like, oh, this is just for me.
100%. And there's a vibe. I got the vibe because he said that he said the one thing about like. He said one thing, and she like kind of was. She seemed kind of annoyed with him. In a couple moments.
They cut the fuck out of that interview. I'm like, God damn it, that must have been a rough hang because they kept clipping it.
Yeah. And they clip all of them. They're all like 6 to 10 minutes, and they're probably there for like an hour plus or whatever. But there was longer runs in the poem. Like exactly.
They had like a couple of minutes of just no cuts.
Yes.
Just a long run.
She said something about like, like I want to find love, and then he was like, it's not going well, and then she was like, thanks. Fucker, you little shit, was the vibe. Like he said like, yeah, well, it's not going well, and she was like, fuck off. That was the subtext. I feel like the bit of the vibe.
And then he said, I didn't know about this till yesterday.
Yeah, he came in trying to like he was trying to neg her.
But
he was trying
to
like
then come in blasé.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know about this till yesterday. Then do that. Then come in with that energy. Like, he came in like, I didn't know about this till yesterday. It's like, really, bitch? Because you're so scared right now.
Yeah.
You know exactly who this woman is.
Right.
Don't try to be bigger than this woman. You
Yeah.
know exactly who she is.
Right.
You're scared out of your wits.
No, actually, and this is what the narrative around his fans was like that. This was like actually one of his first things in like a mainstream internet kind of way.
Right, and some of his fans were upset. They were like, no, we don't want the rest of the world to fall in love with Lando. He's ours. I'm like, don't worry, the rest of the world is going to see this and be like, yeah. But so Jenny was saying like, oh, they're just worried. He's just worried. He's going to say something wrong and they're going to clip it and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, well,
but he said
clip things. But
he said rude shit.
When
he
said
said
something stupid.
Yeah.
He says, like with the Red Bull investigation. It's
well,
like,
also, but also he was rude in the interview.
Stupid.
He was rude in the interview. I don't think he was actually that worried about saying something wrong. I think that he didn't know how to like handle her because she's just like came in with like energy. Like she's a millennial, right? And she's like coming in with like confident millennial energy. And he's like this like little shy Gen Z boy who kind of like does a lot of work without putting in FaceTime. That's a bit of a Gen Z thing, right? It's like, I know how to like curate my fucking presence, my online presence, my dating profile, like whatever it is. Like I can fucking crush that. But then when I'm on a date, like I kind of don't know what to say. Where she is like all Riz, all just like talking. Just like her currency is just like, I can chat. His currency is not that he can chat. When he tries
I guess that is maybe likable. It's like, oh my God, this superstar driver is just a shy piece of shit like me.
That is the appeal. That's the appeal of him.
I get that.
And that's why people like watch this and it confirmed that. I'm looking at some of the comments on it. Like, he actually seems a bit nervous, adorable. I've never seen him so awkward and shy, LMAO. I love how awkward he is because she is so confident. The nervous laughter. You've never tried being a little spoon. Shocking. What does never having tried being the little spoon speak to?
Being young.
Being young, and part of being young is being attached to some type of like archaic version of masculinity. I can't be the little spoon. I'm the boy.
I don't know if he is. It doesn't seem like he's like macho.
He doesn't seem macho, but then there's little. It's interesting with a guy like him that there's he doesn't seem macho. He's like. Like he doesn't meet those qualities.
Not around the other guys, but maybe around women he's more macho.
Right. And that it's a bit too vulnerable to like let yourself be the little spoon. When I was like first dating and spending time with women in a way, I was like, no, like, what do you mean? Like, I'm the man. I'll be the big spoon. Like, that's what you do. And then, like, once I kind of let I was like, let some of that go. I was like, no, baby, let me be the little spoon. It's nice. It's nice
you
to be
fuck
the
me for a
little spoon.
change.
Yeah.
This fucking you is getting in.
Yeah, come on, baby. That was an interesting,
Nice.
insight into
Window.
him.
Yeah, he gave away more than he thought, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a heads I win, tails you lose with his fans because he could go on there, like
Right.
from just my perspective, completely bomb, and
Right,
they'll be like,
right.
"Oh my god, isn't it adorable? He bombed." Or
Yeah,
he could
yeah,
go
yeah.
on there and be charming, and they're like, "Look how charming he is."
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, he was a terrible interview. Isn't that sweet?" No, maybe it's because I was like with her the whole time because this is what I do
Yeah.
on a much smaller scale. I'm like, oh, this is miserable.
Right.
I'm sitting
right.
with her.
I sympathize
I'm
with her.
identifying as the interviewer.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
oh
yeah.
God, what a horror show to interview. You're like out here. He's like no butting everything she's doing.
Right.
Like Paul, like the game is they're on a date.
Right.
The game is they're on a date, and Paul Mescal is like, yes, we are on a date. Let's run away together.
Right.
And we love it. Like
Yeah.
that's the assignment. Just say no to the interview. Just say no to the interview. Don't go on her show because that's her shtick.
Right. I think there's also probably a fair amount of crossover between, like, in the Venn diagram, there's probably like a lot of Lando fans who are Paul Mescal fans. Yeah, he said no but a lot. She asked like what it was like growing up where he grew up, and he was just like I don't remember. I don't know. And then she goes, "Okay, next question." Like, fuck me. Like, this is rough.
Yes. I forgot about that. He was like, I don't remember. You don't remember where you grew up?
Yeah.
Just, it's okay to turn down an interview. It's like,
if you wanted the numbies. And the thing is,
worse to
in his little pocket of the internet, he can do. It's like it is one of those things where like he still can. Here's the thing: his fans will watch that and still love him, but I don't think that people are necessarily watching that being like, "Oh, gotta," I don't think he's gaining a lot from it. I think the Lando, fans who felt like, "Oh no, now the whole world will see him." I think he's still yours. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, he didn't widen his reach.
Right.
I don't think.
Can you imagine Daniel
He
Ricciardo
could've.
on that fucking show? Would crush.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo knows. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo has become so good at it that he can just go on a mainstream show and crush.
Okay, who would be the best driver on Chicken Shop Date? Carlos Sainz.
I think Carlos Sainz would. This is. Now we're in TikTok territory.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Carlos Sainz would.
All right.
Carlos
Sainz would crush.
I think Charles Leclerc
the show would be over. The show would be over because she would just be like, "I'm in love with him."
Yeah.
And there's no more dates.
Yeah. Charles Leclerc, I think, actually would be kind of similar to Lando. I think it would be a lot of nervous laughter. It'd be a lot of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to deal with I don't know what to do with someone who's like this confident and like coming at me with this much energy. Like, I think it would be
He wouldn't know what to do with her energy.
Lewis would destroy.
Yeah, he's a flirty. He could be flirty when he wants
Lewis
to be flirty.
would destroy. He would be amazing.
Yes. Yeah, she would be putty in his hands. Well, no, I mean she's a professional, but like they would be.
No, she would know how to like.
You would believe that they were gonna fuck after.
Yeah.
Albon,
I think would be good. I think Albon would be
Albon
good.
would be good.
If in a very kind of cute, like meeting her energy kind of way. Pierre Gasly
he would be like Mescal.
Yeah,
Mescal
he'd be like
would
Mescal. Yeah.
I think Pierre Gasly would take it too far, honestly.
Yeah, Pierre. He would.
He would take the improv too far.
He would try to make like a sex joke, and it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
He'd try to make an
He would
innuendo.
get canceled. He would get canceled.
Would try to do some like yeah, Dougie, nice. Like no, like Pierre, stop, please. You know who I think would be great, and then I think I have the next person who's also would be perfect. I think Yuki would be great.
Right, because he's just. I don't think he would. I think he would be present. I think the whole thing is like, would you be present with her?
Yes.
Would you understand what she's doing? Like, do you understand the joke?
Right.
And would you be present?
Yes.
And Yuki would get the joke.
Or he might not get the joke, but he would be
just
present. You know?
Yeah, he would be present.
Yeah.
He'd be like, he would be like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, he'd be like, I don't
What's
understand.
wrong
like,
with you?
Yeah. But dude, you know who would be the best?
Alonso?
Well, Alonso would be great. No, who would really be the best? George motherfucking Russell. Can you imagine George Russell on fucking chicken shop date, dude?
Oh, it's over. Oh, it's over.
I mean,
he would, but it would be cringe. It would be cringe because you'd be trying so hard.
But it would make such good content. It would be.
I mean, talk about cringe comedy.
Right.
He would take it too far, but not in an inappropriate way, like Gasly would take it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he would come in with like it's like a gift in these interviews. Like if you come in with some random tidbit, like she's quick on her feet. Like she'd be able to like if you came in with something.
Yeah, Jenny said he would bring flowers.
Yes. Yeah, he'd bring flowers. He would dress up so nice. Like Lando wore a hoodie.
It would be so cute.
He would wear loafers and like slacks and like,
He'd be like, "This chicken shop is disgusting.
Yeah.
We're going here."
He would be like,
you here.
He would be like, "Where are we?" Yeah, it'd be great.
There's a Soho House right down the block.
Yeah,
that I'm a member of.
Yeah, he would be. I need.
We know he likes a Soho House.
Yeah, I need to see that. I need to see him on Chicken Shop Date.
Amelia de Moldenberg, do not give up on F1. Get George Russell on this show.
Yes,
he will do amazing.
He will crush.
Anyway,
all right, let's get into our motherfucking awards.
I just also want to say it's interesting because it's like Oscar would suck.
Yeah.
But
Oscar,
it's because he.
Oscar could be good though.
I guess because it's authentic.
Yes,
his awkwardness is authentic, whereas like Lando's like holding back. I felt him holding back.
He
Everyone
totally
was
holding
saying
back.
Like, everyone's saying, oh, he's so nervous and awkward. Like, no, I just feel like he wasn't a generous guest. Like when we had Dak Shepard on,
right?
We had Dak Shepard on.
Yes.
Like this guy was generous. He was a generous guest. He was like, I'm here. I'm not just giving you my time. I'm gonna like, try to give you a good show.
Right. No, he told us stories.
We're
in this, but no, you understand what these things are. It's like when Dax told us the story about Brad Pitt and him getting him into F1, and that was just this great fucking story. And the stuff about
He's
Daniel.
giving us a gift.
I was like, he is being so kind and generous right now by doing this on our platform. It was like this. You felt that. And then if you have a guest who's just like doesn't want to kind of, no, I'm going to actually like hold that for like my own stuff or not tell you the. Listen, we saw Lando on this year's Drive to Survive when he's playing for the cheap seats.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Lando when he was
like generous. He could be generous.
Like, yeah, ask him about like, yeah. What's a man to bear in the fucking Formula One? Yeah, like I know what it is. Like suck my dick, I'm awesome. You know what I mean? He knows how to do that.
I guess it's like you grade these guys on a curve. It's like we know he can be charming.
Right.
We know he's not nervous in front of cameras. Really, it's just like
it's interesting. I think he was nervous. I think this is like a mainstream kind of thing in a way that he hasn't really done. I remember when we interviewed Noel and we did all this research on like their early days.
Yeah.
When he would go on each other's streams and stuff, and he would when he went on Noel's stream or Noel was on his, he was like, guys, like, or he was on Noel's stream and he was just like, hey guys, like, I'm Lando, like I drive for Formula One, it's F1, like I know, like you might not know what it is, but like I'm just like Noel, you're awesome, man. Like he knows.
Lando's very aware of the nicheness of F1.
Yes.
He understands the levels that
And I think he recognized that this was a thing that like would introduce him to a whole new audience. And I think he was nervous. And I think so. And I think he came out. He didn't know what to do with the nervousness, so he came out and was like, "Let me try to get status." I didn't know about this till yesterday. I just looked at my calendar and I showed up. Oh, you follow me? I don't follow you. Actually, no, I do. And then he caught it. He was like, "I'm being rude right now." And then he was like, "No, actually, I followed you recently. I followed you recently." He was trying to gain status with that. Starting out like that is like a status thing because he was feeling like she was above him. It's interesting.
Right. It's crazy because, like, I'll ask people, like, I've literally talked to people about Formula One, and I'll say Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, nope.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
I'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
If that's not ringing any bells, like, this sport still has a ways to go.
Yeah, and it's usually he is the barometer. It's like he's the one that people know. Like, if they don't know F1, they'll know Lewis. And maybe Daniel, maybe Ricardo. Yeah, maybe Daniel.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to our awards. Okay, hottest moment of the day.
People will say Carlos' overtake on Max.
Yeah.
I'm like, on a wounded fucking Max.
Yeah.
It's just, the fans are so delulu. Don't you want Carlos to do an overtake on an able Max?
Right. Hey, my 4-legged dog was faster than your 3-legged dog. What are we talking about?
Exactly. It's like, I want to see Sainz beat Max Verstappen straight up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm going to say
get a win. Yeah. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
All of his wins have been gimmicky. Some crazy shit has happened. Silverstone, Singapore, Australia, all of them have been gimmicky. He's never just been the fastest guy. Shit has happened. Now, that isn't to say that he hasn't put himself in a position to succeed. He has.
Yep.
But in terms of just like, damn, that guy was the fastest guy on track today.
Right.
What a dominant performance. It's just like, no. He always just wins a weird one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I'm going to say hottest moment of the day was two things. It was George and Alonso just battling at the end of the race. There will be more things to come from this in this award ceremony, I believe. But that on-track battle was fucking great. The two besties, remember? These two
best friends.
These two best friends that everyone can ever have. But also, hottest one of the day got to be Max's fucking brakes.
Yeah,
baby.
no, it's got to be Max's because that was the money shot for me. That's when I came.
Yeah, exactly.
I was so aroused when that happened.
Speaking of being aroused, daddy of the day. It's got to be Carlos Sainz, baby. It's Carlos Sainz. The guy could barely get out of the car. Did you see the thing also when they like did the team, like they all take a picture in front of the thing with the, the little board that says their place or whatever, and then they all spray champagne and everyone runs away. Carlos
he couldn't run.
He couldn't run. The guy couldn't function as a human being.
He's a ham.
Yeah, he was hamming. Yeah, totally. He was hamming it up.
He's hamming it. At what percentage was ham?
I think 0%. He had abdominal surgery 14 days ago. I think that none of it was ham.
And then he won a race where you're supposed. So you think this is just like Jordan flu game?
I think it's kind of Jordan flu game. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll give it to Carlos.
We can also give it to Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda can be a little daddy.
I'll give it to Yuki.
Yeah.
Because you want to know why?
Why?
Because anytime Carlos takes a shit, people praise it. Yuki out here just fucking battling for his fucking career.
Right.
You know what? Here's what I'll say. Carlos Sainz is in the second fastest car and won a race when the fastest car crapped the fuck out.
Yeah.
Good for fucking him. Yuki Tsunoda dragged a shitbox. Dragged one of the bottom cars to P7.
Yeah.
P6, P7. So,
P7.
I mean, yes, the added component of the abdominal surgery needs to be taken into
And beating
account.
Leclerc and outdriving Leclerc in the same machinery.
Yes.
And you know, that's that.
You know what? But when Leclerc beats Sainz, no one says shit. It's just like, of course
true.
he beats Sainz.
Yeah,
but,
it's true.
You know, anyway.
But of you know, they did post the thing of like all the race winners of the last, 35 races, and it's just Max Verstappen's face, and then 2 fucking Carlos Sainz's. Carlos is there too.
He is.
And your friend Steve, Steve. That's Carlos Sainz with that. Okay, radio of the day. Tell me we have it. Tell me we have it. Also, Carlos at the end when he was like, tell Charles to get close. Let's bring this in together, bro. And I'm like, what is that? You think
celebrations are so cringe? They're so cringe, and anybody who thinks it's cool are dickmatized. He's like, tell me we have it. That's like he's trying to make that a thing now,
right? I know.
And his smooth operator is a nickname he gave himself. It's a nickname he gave himself. He is a smooth operator, but let someone else call you. Let someone else give you a nickname. That's
there's
how
also like
weird,
but there's also weird psychological warfare with him, like saying tell Leclerc to get, hey Leclerc, come on up here, buddy. Let's cross this.
Well,
finish
whatever.
line
I think Leclerc might have had the radio of the day because he goes 1 and 2, the best possible result for the team. Like, we couldn't have done any better. It's like, no, you actually literally couldn't have done any better. I think it was Alex was texting this. Like, he's so psyched. It's like, you say that if you like had a rough week and you got P5 and P6.
Right.
It's like P1, P2, nice recovery drive. It's like, what are you talking about? This wasn't you guys got a P1P. It's like he's so broken.
Yeah.
He's so lost. Poor guy.
Also, people were saying both Lewis and George calling the Red Bull a rocket ship at different times.
That's so annoying when they do that.
I know.
Lewis did it. I was like, Lewis loves to point out how fat, because he's always trying to
do
he's always trying to like make it like let everyone know.
Yeah. It's not me.
How fast his opponent is.
Right.
It's like, damn, that car's a rocket ship. Wow.
Yeah. Those McLarens are whip fast on the high speeds.
It's like, dude, you're gonna say that about the McLarens? Jesus Christ. I get it with the Red Bull, but the fucking McLarens.
Well, they both said it about the Red Bull today, but in the past he said about the McLarens anyway.
But he says but he's blown his load when he says about the McLarens.
Right.
No, this is pathetic. You can't pass a customer team. I'm not saying you're pathetic. I'm saying the situation is pathetic.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Lewis's performance? How he's just not doing well?
Yeah, I guess I just feel like he doesn't care. He's super senior. And
what I've been hearing is that he likes what is like in 2022.
Yeah,
he was doing like weird setups to like try to help the team fix the car.
Yeah,
and now he's doing weird setups because he's like it's like Hail Mary.
Right.
Like maybe this will make it fast. Whereas George is like doing the safe setups that probably work.
Right.
And Lewis is doing some avant-garde shit with the car.
Right.
That's what the British media are saying to try to cover up the fact that their boy is really shitting the bed now.
I guess I'm maybe call me a Lewis truther, but like I'm just like I just think that George is going to do better than him this year because George is like trying his hardest and Lewis doesn't care. And the real test will be next year to see where Lewis is really at.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really concern me, I guess, is it's not on my brain.
doesn't concern you. I stay up.
Yeah.
I stay awake at night.
Karen of the day. Now, I think
I want to give it to the fans.
uh
For I get really upset about people who clutch pearls
huh.
about things that it's like you never gave a fuck about Logan Sargent.
Right.
Not
right,
one
right.
time.
Yeah.
You didn't give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck about Logan Sargent 364 days of the year.
Yeah.
And then this thing happened, and now all of a sudden he's boo. He's bay. It's like no. Stop it. You don't care. And you know what else is a red flag of the day for Karen of the day for me?
Yeah.
You know what else pisses me off?
Yeah.
Anytime a team struggles,
Mm-hmm.
you always get these fucking people and they go, and they won't let Andretti in. And they won't let Andretti. Williams is having this situation, right?
Right.
And they go, oh, Williams did this thing. Williams can't get their shit together, and they won't let Andretti in.
Right.
Guess what, motherfuckers? Frank Williams got in 30 years ago,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And he was just with a guy who took out a shitload of bank loans.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a guy, just a bald guy with just chutzpah. Just a pair of balls made this thing happen. When it was a money-losing proposition,
Right.
and he won a shitload of fucking championships.
Yeah.
They earned their way in. You know what? A million years ago, there was a guy named Enzo Ferrari who both his dad and brother died in the war, and he had not a pot to piss in, and he just was addicted to fucking racing, and he got in. He got in it when it was a money losing proposition.
Yep.
Right. Now Andretti's trying to get in when the going is good.
Right.
And people like.
And he wants to get in for cheap.
And he wants to get in for cheap for $200 million. Williams is one of the reasons F1 is great.
Right.
Ferrari is one of the reasons F1 is great. Haas is one of the reasons F1 is great.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis, I'm sorry, but Gunther Steiner is one of the reasons F1 is where it is.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. Actually, no, he's still out here.
He was hilarious.
Slinging.
He was hilarious.
He's still out here. He's still out here making shit happen. But when Gunther, everyone's saying, well, what about Haas? When Gunther brought that team in, F1 was less developed. It was considered a crazier proposition. Teams were going belly up all the time.
Right.
So it's just not the fucking same.
Yeah.
Although this Sauber, this Sauber thing is crazy, dude.
It's crazy. Crazy.
I mean, at what point do you just save the money and just not show up?
Crazy.
Just stop racing until you fix this thing.
How is this thing the issue? That at its best, it's a 5-second pit stop? What the fuck? How is that?
Did they do a 30-second one?
No, because they did because they fucked up, but they were like, hey, the wheel nut is they're doing this. They're using some other kind of wheel nut. They're using this other design, and then there's been an issue with it. So then they're hoping for 5-second pit stops, but then when it goes awry, it's 30 seconds. So that's the fucking. It's crazy.
And you know what this really speaks to?
Yeah.
Is how important the little things are. And we have our one of our guys at Friday Beers who we work with, he says these little things add up, right?
Yeah.
And even when Red Bull was struggling, they did the little things right.
Right.
The pit stops.
They've always done the little things right. Yeah.
Even when their car was slower,
Yeah.
they did the little, because their engine was not there. They did every little thing right.
Right.
And even you saw Mercedes, even when they were winning, their strategy wasn't great.
Yeah. Pit stops were
their
kind
pit
of
stops
slow.
weren't the best.
Yeah.
Their pit stops were kind of slow. It's there's a quote I heard recently where it's like, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say that. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of it's like
Yeah.
if you and you see this at the top with Mercedes and Ferrari, like how they couldn't, they might have a good, it's you got to do everything right.
Right.
And otherwise there's just no point. And it's like, oh well, we don't even know where Sauber is in terms of pace. I mean, they're actually not even that bad. I think Bottas qualified like in 13th or 12th. Like he was in that area where he could get points. But it's just like, but if you're doing 5 seconds, like, what is even these margins are so tight,
right?
Like there's not that much difference between Haas and Williams and RB.
Yeah,
that's just those three. I mean, Alpine is on another fucking planet.
Totally.
But they're not even worth discussing.
Kravitz said, we were talking about radio the day, Kravitz said at one point, ring the church bells and bring out the bunting because Sauber did a short pit stop. What a fucking ledge.
I mean, we did a 30-second pit stop.
Yeah.
Like you and I, when we were at a activation, we did one.
Yeah.
Red flag of the day is probably the steak F1 kick Team Sauber.
Yeah. But I guess what are we feeling about this penalty? So Alonso was given a 20-second penalty. What the vibe is that going into that corner, he basically did like a pseudo brake test. He downshifted, and then he slowed down too much, so then he sped up, and then basically George was like, and George was half a second behind him. He basically, their argument is that he caused this crash, that he caused George to crash.
To call it okay. We all know that my favorite Spanish driver is actually Carlos Sainz. I'm like a Sainz guy.
Yeah. You've always been that way.
So Fernando is not my guy.
Right.
But let me try to look at Fernando. His name is Fernando Alonso. You're Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Apparently Peter Windsor, I was watching one of his streams. He says he lives in Spain.
Yeah.
And he watches some of the Spanish broadcasts, and apparently in Spain, Fernando Alonso is God. And no one gives a fuck about Carlos Sainz.
Right.
And everywhere else in the world is the inverse, right? Because Carlos Sainz is the new hot thing on the block. But,
right.
But Spain loves Fernando, and they couldn't give a fuck about Carlos. But anyway, Spanish people message me why that's a thing. But what was it? Oh, yeah. So you can't really – it's not a brake check in the most traditional sense of the word, because a brake check is like where you stop –
right.
On like a straight.
Yeah.
Whereas like this was not on a straight. This was like this was like on a turn, right?
Yeah, it was going into a turn. It was going into the
a turn.
Yeah.
In a braking zone.
Right.
He just braked earlier, like freakishly early.
Right. Like 100 meters
then,
earlier than he would normally did.
Yeah.
On every
100
other time
meters earlier.
And he downshifted to a level that from 7 to 6, which he always took it at 7. He went down to 6, I believe.
No. Here's the thing. I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to sit here and say he didn't do some shady shit.
Yeah.
He definitely did do some shady shit.
Right.
And the rule the rule that he got dinged for was driving in an erratic and unsafe manner.
Yeah.
That is dangerous. But I guess at what point are they playing the results, right?
Right,
because
sure.
I think if George did not fucking crash,
right? No, he wouldn't have gotten that penalty.
Get into a near lethal accident.
Yeah. It was
could have been a lethal accident.
It was lucky there was like a 12-second gap from him and Stroll, but if there had been people 4 seconds behind him, it could have been really, really, really bad.
I mean, he could have been dead. That's how you. What I don't understand is how that's like cars should never bounce back like that onto the track.
Well, it was interesting, and in the cool down room, Sainz was talking about that corner, and he was like, I guess he's raised concerns about that corner, that he was just like, it's too tight, and then it was funny. Leclerc was like, oh really? Like, I love that corner. then Sainz was like, no, like he was like, it's a great like corner, but there's the rest of the stuff around it is just all too tight. There's too much like, there's the grass on the one side, and then there's the pebbles on the other, and that it's like the surroundings are there's too much can go wrong there. And I think that's true. I think that's where Albon crashed last year. It's a perilous corner.
Hauger and F2 crash apparently there.
Yeah.
So it's a rough, but it's like I don't care like if people necessarily crash. It's like, oh, if that's a difficult corner to take and people crash, fine.
Yeah.
This is a high level.
But it's that you crash and then
it's
you
just
bounce into the middle
and
of the
they bounce
track.
back out. Right.
And your whole underside. I mean, his radio after was like, like as it was happening was like
was scary,
harrowing. Yeah.
Well, because he knew. He knew.
Yeah.
And not only was he back on the track, but his head was facing where the cars come.
No,
So
it was the other way. But it was still.
Oh, really?
The under end
could have been the.
It still would have been. They feel every fucking bump. You don't think it could have been really, really, really bad.
Oh right, yeah.
And I guess the argument because Alonso's had a few of these where like he kind of fucking it's the art of racing, right? It's like the art of it is that you slow down at certain parts, you do this other stuff, but I guess maybe the argument
and you make the guy compromise his line and sort of thing. But I guess what Aldis was saying on his stream was I thought was a good point. Is like, wait a minute, if you're gonna say, you're playing the results, because if you're going to say what Fernando did is erratic and dangerous driving, then you got to hit K-Mag after he got that 10-second penalty or whatever.
Yeah.
He lifted on straights.
Right.
It's like, why you shouldn't? That's erratic. It's
the
whole thing is like, and that's why they looked at his telemetry and they're like, you did a thing that racing drivers shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Which is like, you did this thing because like, when you brake and then throttle. Like it's not it's like a binary thing. You don't throttle, brake, throttle, right?
Right.
You never it's one or the other.
Yeah.
So
and that's
they're
what
like,
Alonso did.
you did this thing.
Yeah.
That's what you do, this thing that race drivers never do, so that's why it's a penalty. It's like, well, you're never supposed to lift on a straight.
But
so why isn't that a fucking
K-Mag
penalty?
get dinged? Didn't he get dinged for that too? He got two
he got
10-second
for
penalties.
He got 2 10-second penalties, but then he was like, "Fuck it, I'll just I'll just drive really slow because my race is over anyway."
Right.
But nobody got into a wreck, and I guess the question is like, did he drive a little bit dangerously? Did he do some shady shit? Yes. But if George had spun, if George had wobbled, if it wasn't this catastrophic accident, would he have gotten that penalty?
I think if George had crashed anyway, and any way you cut it, he would have done that. I think that if George hadn't crashed, that's another story. But I think if Alonso did a thing that did make George crash, even if he didn't wind up in the middle, but if it did ruin his race, I think they would have looked at it and seen it for what it is. That is part of what happens, though, is that like they look at it when a thing happens or someone raises a complaint. Now there is a world where maybe George, would have complained had he not crashed. He would have said, "Hey,"
he would have definitely complained,
and maybe they would have looked at it, and I think they maybe would have given him a penalty. I don't know if it would have been a 20-second penalty, but they might have given him something. I think he was deserving of it, but I agree that a bit they are playing the results. But I think these things always come up because it's either an incident happens, that's why they look into it, or someone lodges a complaint. They don't necessarily always just like they miss stuff.
Of course. They usually wait. Someone usually complains on the radio and they look into it.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the world is Oscar Piastri, who just doesn't.
It's like whatever,
care.
It's fine. Yeah, he brake tested me, but like,
oh, you want me to you want my teammate you want me to let my teammate through?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my home race, cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wild. All right. Kill, fuck, marry the actual podium. Lando, Charles, Carlos Sainz. I said it earlier. I'm marrying Carlos Sainz. He's the guy you marry.
Yeah,
These
you got to marry Carlos.
other two bit more.
I'm killing Charles, and I guess I'm fucking Lando.
Sure, I'll be there
can't
with
afford
you.
to kill Lando. I can't afford
Yeah.
to kill Lando anymore.
Yeah.
I just too scared.
Yeah.
So you guys are crazy.
Yeah, baby, the Norris Hive. Oh, how did it compare to the Las Vegas GP? This is actually one that did compare to the Las Vegas GP. And you know why? You know why, Matt? Because it's a street race. Because it's
a street race. And Australia is American at heart.
Yep. So this is pretty close. This is pretty. It was no Vegas GP, but it was pretty close. Also, the Vegas.
There's no Vegas GP.
Also, the Australian fans just are they are pretty legendary. Like they come out hard.
Yeah.
You see the clip of someone screaming at Lando, being like, "Hey, Lando, when are you gonna win a race?" And then he just went like this to him.
Yeah, apparently Oscar they truth serumed Oscar they
Oh, yeah.
Actually, there's like does it make you happy that
the lie detector
that you want to race and he's like yes
it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, pretty close to the Australian GP. So good job, Melbourne. All right, you motherfucking Vankers. That's our episode.
We love you, Vankas.
Goodbye, Vankers. Oh, buy our Albon merch. Don't be stupid. Link in bio.
I don't care.